I came across this Egyptian piece called Scribe, second half of the 2nd century, and it looked really symmetrical, so I wanted to check it out. This is definitely not a way I would shoot a piece like this. It looks like they were probably in a room that was too small, so they had to use a lens that was too wide and had to get too close. And that creates a lot of distortion, so you're never going to have everything line up, and you have to just expect that and give it a little leeway. So the first thing I'm going to do is try a square and see how it works. If you actually go by the dimensions of the piece, then it's not a square. So I'm going to try to stay with just a square and try to go by the base of the piece instead. I want to see if any major points are hitting just on the square. I'm going to try to do that in fourths. So I'm going to break it down into its quadrants and see if anything works in those areas. There's a lot of things that are close, but not close enough for me. And again, there is distortion here, so you have to take that into consideration. But I just don't think that this thing was designed in something that simple. And so the next obvious thing is this is a classical pyramid structure. If his head and his shoulders and his knees really align with a single point, then what happens if I take that, draw a triangle, and flip it upside down? Will there be any kind of relationship to the bottom as well? And it looks like I can create sort of a horizontal rectangle and play with these points. The points just that these intersecting triangles make, and I come up with a really interesting pattern. You can never say with certainty that this is the tools that he was using, but it's really interesting how well things line up, especially the major horizontals. Because the pyramid works so well, let's try a circle, and it looks like things line up. This is going to fit into a square from the top of his head to the base of the piece. If I try to center myself in that square and go one size smaller, it looks like maybe the next level would be the shoulders. And then I'm going to zoom in one more time and just try the bottom of the chest, top of the hands. And I'm really interested to see how this, or if this, works with the pyramid structure. But before I do that, I'm going to throw up some guides to see if these circles have any relationships to the horizontal and vertical lines, and it looks like they do. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of barrel distortion in this piece. So I can't see the top of the head, but I can easily see the top of the base. That's just a wide angle. And again, it probably wasn't possible, but I would have shot this with at least a 100mm lens. I'd have gotten back, depending how big this piece actually is, about 10 feet, and tried to get a little bit lower to be more straight on. But the space probably just didn't allow for that. Okay, now let's see if this all works together, and it's kind of interesting. I would just love to know what he was actually doing, and if this was a part of it. Beautiful work.